Okay, is it actually recording this time? Yes, thank you. So, at last, I have the new Necron Codex, and it seems I was pretty lucky to get it. It's coming right up.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. So, here we are. I have the new Necron Codex. I'm very excited. I've still got it sealed. I'm going to take my first look with you guys here on camera. However, like I said, I've been pretty lucky to get this because I've heard quite a few of you that pre-ordered this Codex and all the other stuff and you still haven't got it. A 2-week pre-order window and yeah, foul of delivery. Now, I'm not sure if Games Workshop is changing how they do it. I've been told that maybe rather than sending out the pre-orders before the day to try and get deliveries on the day, they're now sending it out actually on the day of release, which of course will delay the delivery, obviously, by a few days. However, I ordered mine in store to be delivered in store, and I know a few of you have done that as well and still not got your order. Now, I did get some of my stuff, but I didn't get it all. So I did get my 2 sets of dice, I did get my Stormlord and Orokin miniature, Imatech and Orokin. However, I didn't get my Overlord miniature with the Translocation Crypt, and I didn't get my index cards. Now, Games Workshop did actually have some of the codices on the shelf, however, they didn't have the Overlords. So maybe the demand was more than they expected. Maybe they didn't make enough, maybe just something went wrong. I'm not really sure, but either way, it is a bit of an epic fail to have something which was pre-ordered 2 weeks ago and you don't get it on the day of release. However, I work in retail myself and we deal with electronics, and it's fair to say that the pre-order thing is quite big these days. I mean, when they release something new, then generally we get a pre-order on that item and we take deposits on those items, and then the item is released, and yeah, not everyone gets one on the release date, and sometimes it can take like months before you actually get it. Even if you ordered it on the day of release, you don't always get it. So maybe it's just the way of the world these days. However, it of course is disappointing. So I do feel like I'm very lucky to have received my Codex, and I can't wait to have a look at it. Now, of course, we got the points released on the Warhammer community website a few days ago, and I've been looking at the Warhammer app. Now, I don't pay for subscription on the Warhammer app, but the points have been updated on there. So I made a few adjustments to my army list, which I already had there. I know you're only supposed to have one, but before, I'm not sure if I could say this on camera, just in case someone picks it up, but before they updated it, I just made like a selection of different lists, and they stayed there so I can go in and I can edit the individual lists. And that's what I've been doing. So out of interest, because the points have changed, of course, my ultimate Necrons list, which I made a video all about, which I haven't actually played that list yet, but I'm going to adapt it obviously for the new rules. That came down 120 points, an extra 120 points to play with, means I can probably go up to 10 flayed ones like I wanted to originally. My Transcendent Catan 1k list, which I played on the channel quite a few times, that came down 85 points. My Fun Cron list, which was the list in my last battle report against Richard, where I played 2 units of Wraiths before they got good, and Praetorians, that came down 40 points, not too much there. I had a 2,000 points list based around what I called the non-RP list. So yeah, basically it didn't rely on RP at all. I haven't featured it on the channel yet, but it did come down 155 points, so stay tuned for that one. Also, I had a Catan list with 6 Catans in. Again, I haven't played it yet on the channel. These are lists which I've been working on and will happen at some point. That came down 95 points, and yeah, that was it really out of the list that I had. So everything came down, so I'm looking forward to adjusting and adapting those lists. Obviously, we've got the new detachments, which I'm going to be making videos on in the future. Today, we're going to have our first look at this. We're not going to necessarily look at the rules, like in depth or anything. We're going to have a look as a long-time Necron player and fan and a lover of Necrons. Yes, why not? I love Necrons, and I can't wait to have a look inside this book and see what it's all about. Let's do it. Okay, so when I designed the thumbnail, Epic Fail, I was thinking it was about Games Workshop pre-order supply. However, I've just had an epic fail with this video because I had the cellophane on this Codex because I was going to undo it basically on camera. I got the Codex on Saturday. I waited till Monday morning to open it. I resisted for that long to open it on camera, and I recorded half of the footage and the video clip is corrupt. So we're doing it again. No unsealing though, I'm afraid. Right, here we go. So the new Codex 10th edition, and I have to say the image on the front, I'm really loving it. I'm loving it much more than the 9th edition Codex. I like the way we've got the sort of shiny section and the dull section to it. Just makes it sort of almost 3D. And it's my second favourite picture on a Necron Codex. My favourite picture being from the 3rd edition one. Of course, that is going to be my favourite because it was my first Codex. Right, let's have a look inside this book. Let's see what we've got. Of course, the opening cover is the usual one with all of the sort of faces and Necrons. Now this is brand new font. I don't think I've seen this font before. I noticed it was the font on the front of the limited edition Codex. So pretty cool, sort of old English writing. Their number is Legion, their name is Death. Right, let's have a look. So, contents, we have In Search of the Immortality, a showcase, Combat Patrol, interesting, that's in here. We've got Forces of the Necrons, Crusade rules, and of course points, which we are going to ignore because they are out of date already. The points are of course on the free download. Then we just have the index there. Going through, we've got a picture, got quite a cool picture here with the Eldar, or Eldari as they're now called. This of course is the Iadin format, or paint scheme. I do actually have quite a few Eldar armies to add to my Eldar collection, which I haven't built or painted yet. So they're all the old metal ones. I've got loads of the metal wraith, so maybe one day. But for now, we're looking at these cool Necrons. Those warriors look like they are in trouble. Disembarking from a monolith right in front of a Wraith Knight. They're not going to survive very long. Okay, so we've got, of course, some fluff, the stories. It's going to be interesting to see if there's anything in here about the 3 characters that we've lost. When the Tyranids lost their Doom of Melantai, they did get a little paragraph in the Codex about the model, even though it wasn't an actual unit anymore, so that would be interesting. And, of course, the picture, which is on the front of the 3rd edition Codex, my favourite picture of all time. I would absolutely love to have this picture on my wall. However, I think my fiancée would kill me if I did that. So we'll have to just adore it in the Codex. But yeah, this is the picture which I fell in love with the Necrons. Saw this picture on the front of the Codex and thought, Nick, you have to play Necrons because it's super, super cool. Okay, so we've got some more fluff, the War in Heaven, of course, the Awakening. We've got a recycled image, which we've seen before, and a very cool image here of potentially a flayed one, or it could just be a warrior. I like this sort of old school artwork where it's the black and white sort of almost ink drawings from the 3rd edition era. Obviously the new artwork is, well, it looks like digitally done. Probably this is digital artwork. Coming through, we've got this image which we've seen before. Pariah Nexus. We've got a bit about the Blackstone, just some general sort of fluff. I don't think the fluff is quite as indulgent as it has been in some previous editions, but there's bits and pieces there. Illuminor, of course. Got this very, very cool picture. Almost looks like Star Wars. Flying through sort of a tunnel of some description with obviously the floating obelisks and the lightning. Very cool. And then we have the Pariah Nexus. Some pretty cool imagery here. I like this one quite a lot. Now, I have actually seen the Pariah Nexus, although I'm not a member of community, whatever it's called, Warhammer Plus. But yes, I have seen Pariah Nexus. I've seen all 3 episodes. It's pretty cool. It wasn't absolutely amazing, but it was cool, especially seeing the death marks when he teleported. Really liked that. Then we have the Aldridge Artifact, which Artifice. Again, another very cool sort of old school line ink drawing, I suppose you could say. A little bit on the Cryptothralls, talking about the weaponry and the technology of the Necrons, just a general sort of backstories really. Got a very cool picture here, which I believe we have seen before. We've got Illuminor, and then we have these floating things, which I don't know exactly what they're supposed to be. In my head, they are the reanimators. I did actually convert one of my reanimators to be floating in the air based on this artwork where they're sort of in the air. One day we might get a different unit that represents this, but in my head these are reanimators. Not quite sure exactly what they are. And then we have a myriad of dynasties. So interesting, they are talking about the dynasties. Obviously with the detachments now, we don't have actually dynasty detachments. So yeah, it's good that it's still in the book. Obviously a recycled image there, this Scorpec Destroyer. And again, the 9th edition artwork, which is really, really cool artwork. Love that. Coming through, the Lords of the Stars, the Pharaoh's Legions. Got an image here, which is interesting. It's rather blurry. I suppose it's artistic. Coming through, the Deadly Treasures, and a brand new image which I've seen on the internet. People have been posting this image primarily to find out what this is at the top here, because we've got some sort of floating canoptic construct which is rather large, because you've got some dude riding him in the top. I have actually done a conversion using an old canoptic spider with an overlord on the top. I'll try and put a picture up for you so you can see it. But this would be super cool. I don't know whether this is maybe the original artwork for the Silent King, potentially. I mean, sometimes artwork is sort of just concept artwork which sort of makes it out into the wide world. But yeah, really, really cool. I like how they're framing the artwork here. You almost want to tear this page out and frame it, but obviously we wouldn't ruin our codex and do that. And then we have some more text and Necron Dynasties, which I know is where the second clip that I made continues. Necron Dynasties, again another really cool picture. They look very regal, don't they, these guys? Almost like the royal family, just there. Again, with some sort of transport that's floating in the air there. It's almost like a command barge, but it's not a command barge. Very, very cool. And all these floating obelisks as well. Look at that, what's that? It's like a monolith, but not a monolith. Very, very cool. Aha, so Xandrek and Oberon are here. Chazan the Infinite. And then obviously they're going to do the dynasties. That's a cool picture. Close up and the Silent King. gain artwork, and I think we might have some images of the war in heaven. This isn't, I think this is an old one. Looks like an old one. Obviously I'd have to read it all, but very cool, very new, very different. Imitech, of course, the Sautek dynasty, so they're actually keeping the dynasty names actually within the book. Again, more very cool artwork. Seen this before, of course. Got the Mefret dynasty, the Nefrek dynasty, as you would expect. So they're all here, even though the detachments aren't necessarily a Novok detachment or Nyalek detachment. They're keeping the actual dynasties alive, which is good, I suppose, and who knows the future, we might go back to the dynasties themselves. Because there's more text to be read and showcase. You alright, babe?
I am. What are you doing?
I'm recording.
Can I sit in here and
Yeah, if you want.
can I have the TV on?
No.
Alright, I'll sit in the room.
Okay. It won't be long. We have the translocation Overlord, which I didn't get. Very disappointed, but obviously we will get him at some point. And then coming over here, Wraiths, which are going to be very prevalent, it seems, from the rules. And I'll just wait for someone to finish in the kitchen. I recorded 6 minutes and then realised only one camera was recording, so I had to redo it. That slowed me down. So obviously this section is basically just to show off the models and maybe inspire you to buy and paint the miniatures. Oh, these are cool. The orange blades, Victorians. Obviously the Void Dragon, what an awesome miniature that is. We have the new Imitech and Oricon. Again, we've got the Overlord there, which we don't have. Oricon looks pretty big. It does look big. We're going to obviously have a look at Oricon in another video, which will be coming up on the channel soon. Silent King, Ophidians. Just keep going. So yeah, they're just pictures of the miniatures basically. And then Combat Patrol, which is interesting. Combat Patrol in the Codex. I haven't played Combat Patrol yet, but now it's in the Codex. Potentially, I might actually, I might have a go at this. Nice to see some painting guides in here, because that's like old school Codex stuff. So, Combat Patrol rules, I'm not going to go over rules as I said in this video, but then you've got your data cards. Of course, Combat Patrol data cards. I'm wondering if the index, not the index cards, the data cards that you buy in the pack, whether they have Combat Patrol cards in there. I really hope they do, because that would encourage me to play Combat Patrol a bit more. But yeah, you've got your Combat Patrol data cards. The forces of the Necrons. And here we go, the rules. Now, as I said, I'm not going to sort of go over the rules too much in this video. This video is more about a first look at the Codex. But we are going to be, of course, doing rules videos. As I said, I'm going to be doing battle reports. I'm going to be doing army lists. I've got a lot of stuff planned. However, of course, Games Workshop thought it would be a very good idea to release this 2 weeks before Christmas, which, okay, it might make some good Christmas presents. However, it does mean for us YouTubers, it's an incredibly busy time of the year. I've got family coming, staying with us all over Christmas, so finding time to make videos is going to be hard, but I'm going to do my best. I do really like the new artwork design, very, very cool. Obviously, you've got all the different legions. We already know most of the rules for those. The Canoptic Court, of course, being one of the better legions. Hypercrypt Legion, yeah, lots of fun stuff, and some really cool artwork as well. Interesting, his Transcendent Catan is still in that section. And who is that there? Who is that? That must be a conversion. Yeah, it's got to be a conversion. Ah, look, that's that piece of terrain which we saw in the artwork at the of the 9th edition artwork on the Warhammer community. It's obviously custom made. I think these are all conversions and stuff. And then the data sheets, which, as I said, I'm not going to go over them, but we'll have a quick look at the layout. So interesting how they put the save at the bottom now, so it's easy to see, which is great, or at least the invulnerable save. It obviously looks pretty simple, compared to the index cards. It's going to be very, very similar, but obviously with a lot more new rules. I'm going to look at the rules for the 2 new miniatures when I do the unboxings, and as I said, those videos will be coming soon. And that is probably going to be it for the rest of the book, but let's quickly go here. I'm going to cover up my code. I am going to give my code to Richard because I believe he has the app. And then we've got the Crusade rules, which again, I've never played Crusade and I don't intend to. I don't have a gaming group that's into Crusade. So yeah, that isn't for me. So that's all Crusade stuff. Battle traits, battle scars, battle badges, points, which you don't even need to look at because there's no point in looking at points. And, oh, Necron's name generator. That's cool. That is cool. Going to have a closer look at that. And, of course, in the back, we've got the digital code, which, like I said, I'm going to give to Richard. So have a quick look at the back of the Codex. And we've got the traditional back of the Codex image. So, fair play. There you go. And that is my first look at this book. I really hope you enjoyed looking at it for the first time with me. Stay tuned for lots and lots of more Necron 10th edition videos. In the meantime, here is a playlist of my 10th edition Necron videos, and here's a playlist to my battle reports.